Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Strictly Unknown. Am I the a-hole for upstaging the bride and refusing to change my dress? English is not my first language. So, my 27 female cousin, 29 female, is soon getting married. The thing is, our families have been in no contact for the last 10 to 12 years because of some issues between our fathers. In total, 4 brothers who hated each other. The feud recently came to an end because all the kids are grown up now and we kind of want to keep our differences aside and enjoy the upcoming events. We all had a little reunion, and this issue started with my cousin's engagement party. Now, I want to highlight that I take good care of myself. I do yoga and dance to stay fit. On some special occasions, I love to dress up a lot. It makes me feel good and confident. My cousin is a doctor, and due to her schedule, she has put on some weight. But I respect her because her profession is tougher than mine. I am an engineer. For her engagement, I wore a nice, beautiful peach-colored gown. It wasn't a new one. This was a 3-year-old gift from someone. We are Indians, and brides generally prefer to wear lehengas or saris. Even though we have reconciled as a family, my cousin never involved me with her planning or anything related to her wedding, and I was totally okay with that. When my mother and I arrived at the location of the event, all was good, but the bride was late. People from the groom's side welcomed us nicely, and I was feeling great. My cousin was almost 2 hours late, but when she arrived with her 2 besties, I could feel the tension between us rising high. To my horror, she was wearing a peach-colored gown exactly like mine, but it was more glittery. Only the bottom part of our dress was slightly different. She went on without acknowledging my existence. My mom noticed me but told me to relax as it was an accident and to enjoy myself. She went ahead to help my auntie with further preparations. I took a seat in the corner with my other cousin. When I was talking to him, one of the bride's besties came to talk. I thought she was there to invite me to join them, but she straight up told me to change my dress. I was speechless. I told her no because 1, there was nothing else to wear, and 2, my house was several kilometers away and it would take me almost 2 hours to do so. She started suggesting different options for buying a new dress, or she could lend me some clothes. I firmly told her no. My mom and dad were unaware of all of this. She kept arguing with me but gave up. When the ceremony started, my cousin was looking fine and smiled at me because, in the end, she was getting engaged to the love of her life. We both got lots of compliments and I thought the drama was over, but her friends kept giving me side eyes throughout the event, and today one of them tried to contact me on Instagram. The most hurtful thing was the fact that there was an after party thrown by the bride and groom for all the cousins and their special friends, but I wasn't invited. So I think I might be an a-hole because the bride's best friend told me to change my dress, which looked similar to the bride's dress, but I refused. But I need an honest opinion. Well, Opie, in my honest opinion, I don't think you were the a-hole at all. It was the engagement party, not the wedding itself. So unless I'm missing some sort of cultural thing that says that in the engagement party, the bride should be the only one wearing one specific color or something like that, then no, you weren't the a-hole. And also, you had no clue she would be wearing that color. What if your mom had also been wearing a peach-colored dress or something? Would you both have been asked to change? If so, it would have even been more ridiculous. And yeah, I get that it was a celebration for her and her future husband, and they should be the center of attention, but apparently she didn't lose the attention of anybody. Now, I don't know if it was her directly or one of the besties that decided not to invite you to the party, but whoever did that is the true a-hole in this whole story. And what do you guys think? What is your judgment in this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. No idea why I'm here says, not the a-hole. If you don't want to be upstaged, even by accident, you, or someone in your wedding party, make sure everyone knows what not to wear before the event, not during or after. In this case, someone could have mentioned the bride's colors beforehand. No one had to show the dress, just mention the colors. The bestie, however, is definitely an a-hole, even if it was at the bride's instigation. You were wearing something you already had that you hadn't even bought but received as a gift that was suitable for the occasion with the exception of the color, which you didn't know about. The demand to immediately change was unreasonable in the circumstances. New Auntie 26 says, not the a-hole. It wasn't intentional and it wasn't reasonable to ask you to change. If you did change, it may have been more noticeable. I would ignore your cousin's besties and text your cousin and let her know that you felt uncomfortable at her party due to similar dresses and that you were disappointed that you weren't invited to the after party. Maybe suggest that you and her go to lunch or get your nails done to catch up. I would hope that your cousin isn't interested in childish games and would respond nicely to your message. The only thing to consider is what will you do if she gets petty and wants approval of your wedding outfit? And OP responds, I will be more than happy to show them my outfits, but looks like they are going to ignore me. How can I possibly know what to wear and what not when I am not even included in the discussion? OK Wrongdoer 8275 says, Indian here too, not the a-hole. Even with Indian weddings and the clothing not always being designer, there's styles and colors that go in and out of fashion. You were wearing a dated piece, not really something you'd expect a bride to pick from all the designs going around at the minute, which means you weren't knowingly trying to upstage her. You're absolutely not the a-hole. Also, if the bride didn't have an issue with you, then her besties can take a seat and enjoy the event. Not being invited to the after party is hurtful, but if that's what the bride wishes, then it's up to her. Same as you if you wish not to attend any further events and functions in her wedding. That would be your choice. Hope you feel better. Smiley face. Additional information from OP's comments. Peach color is not a traditional bride or wedding color at all. Plus, it wasn't even a traditional dress, just a nice evening gown. Also, going home to change my dress meant 2 hours. Not just for changing my outfit, but calling the cab, then the 45 to 50 minutes ride home, selecting a new outfit, and then the ride back to the venue. I don't have my own vehicle, and there was actually no particular dress code for the event. Anyone could wear anything. On top of that, her friends are totally strangers to me. I cannot accept clothes from a stranger. This thought still makes me uncomfortable. I think her friends were rude and mean to me, and people expect me to borrow clothes from them. There is more to this story, and I'm thinking about making an update to clarify all. I do want to let this go, but the after party thing was really hurtful. No one informed me about it. I'm going to talk to my other cousin today. Okay, I think OP got a pretty fair judgment and people were seeing her point of view. Also, she wants to make an update, so let's move on with that and see how this story ends. Well, a lot has happened since I made the post here. First, I want to thank you all for giving an honest opinion. One thing that I noticed, all the Indians who commented on my post told me that I'm not the a-hole. Let me clear out a few things. I don't hate my cousin, the bride. And I am not petty or mean, and this dress incident was totally unintentional. Her friend said that I was upstaging the bride, which was not the case. During the ceremony, I tried to keep a low profile, even though it wasn't my fault. Also, I compared our looks and weight because it had been literally a competition between us since childhood to look better than each other, which was really childish and created more issues in our family, and I thought her friends were mean to me because of our previous issues. So, for an update, a few days ago my aunt, bride's mom, called my mom. They were having this general discussion about further planning for the wedding. Then my aunt told my mom that I would be beside the bride on stage during the wedding. It was a shock for me because it's like getting a maid of honor position. I quickly texted my cousin to thank her and we talked for the first time after her engagement. We decided to meet up for a coffee. At the coffee shop, I brought up the topic of our matching dresses and she told me she was shocked at first but later totally forgot about it. I also asked her why she was choosing me over her friends to be on stage. They have been friends for 10 years. She gave me a few reasons why, like they are not punctual, irresponsible, and can be very demanding sometimes, and I am literally her family. As I mentioned, she was actually looking very happy during her engagement. She also told me that she was a bit disappointed that I wasn't there at the after party and her soon-to-be husband was also asking for me. From her talk, one thing I know is that she is not aware of her friends being mean to me and lying about me. Cousin and I are on good terms. At the end, we ate some delicious burgers and had fun, and I also showed her my dress, which I will be wearing at her wedding. Super glittery light green color lehenga. Here's a picture. Also, let me tell you this. At Indian weddings, we treat our guests with the utmost respect. As I said, it was unfortunate that our dresses were mostly similar. It was downright crazy for her friend to ask me to change. We don't do this here at all. It would have created even bigger drama if they had seen me in a different dress later. As a bride, we also cannot demand a guest to change. Literally not our culture at all. No one, not even one family member, had any problem with the dress except her friend. And it was just an engagement party. The wedding is next month. The bride and I are seriously on good terms. Hell, she asked me to prepare a special dance for the musical night. And as for her friends, I don't care what they think about me. I have my family and cousins by my side. I am still unsure if I should tell her about her bestie or just let it go. I just want to enjoy the 3-day event with many small ceremonies, gatherings, and the actual wedding. Now that this issue is resolved, I am looking forward to it without any further drama. I will just keep my distance from her friends and have fun with my actual family. It was tough not to tell her about how her friends treated me, but I think this entire issue should end here. Well, OP, I think you're doing the right thing, and good for you for letting this whole thing go. I mean, your cousin doesn't need the additional drama, and you both are on good terms, and you're up for enjoying the whole ceremony. So here's wishing a lovely wedding to your cousin, and that you all have a great time. Thank you for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. And this post also has an update. And following the topics of weddings, this one is from the subreddit Wedding Shaming, and it's by user Antisocial Queer. Bride 1 hour late to wedding, didn't contribute to planning. Here's a wedding story for y'all, my own from 2 days ago. My wife and I, a same-sex couple, got married on Saturday, and it's safe to say the ceremony was an absolute disaster. I'm mostly just venting, hopefully it makes someone feel better about their own wedding. They say some things go wrong with every wedding, right? A lot went wrong with mine. My wife is a serial procrastinator. It is excruciatingly frustrating. She is close to perfect if you disregard this fact. We were engaged for about 18 months before the wedding and did not want to talk about the wedding at all until literally 4 weeks before. I had to practically force her to help with any planning at all in the 17 months before the month of the wedding. I did almost 90% of the planning, but it was insanely difficult and frustrating because there were things that I obviously wanted and needed her input on before I could do it. There were very few things that were her responsibility to organize, and she organized practically nothing. Some examples of things that happened due to her procrastinating and things she was meant to do but didn't. She ordered her dress online 2 weeks before the wedding. Amazingly, it arrived on time. Helped me pick a photographer since I was struggling to find a good one. She said she would handle it. She didn't. 2 days before the wedding, I asked an old friend who is a semi-professional photographer if he can do it, and luckily he can. Never told me what flowers she wanted, so I could never organize with a florist what flowers to order. We bought our bouquets from the local grocery store the night before the wedding. I Frankensteined my bouquet with a few different of the store bouquets, but it admittedly looked very nice. She didn't like any arbors, so she said she would build one. She works in a manual labor job and does woodworking, so it would have been a piece of cake. She did not make the arbor. Buy a bubble machine. She didn't. Practice the song we wanted to sing at the reception together as our first song instead of the first dance. She never practiced, never wanted to practice together, so we didn't sing it. Buy or rent microphones. She didn't. Organize a translator for her family since they don't speak English. She didn't. Organize movers to help transport chairs and decorations and the non-existing arbor. We had to make multiple trips in my mom's tiny car to transport all the chairs and decorations, and I decorated and set up the entire ceremony and reception space myself and with help from one uncle. She did not go to her hair and makeup appointment. She threw her hair together and wore no makeup, which is fine, but not what she wanted. Wrote her vows the morning of the wedding. Other than these things she was meant to do or organize, I organized every other single thing in the wedding, which was a lot, since she didn't want to contribute at all. The ceremony was meant to start at 3:30 p.m., with guests arriving at 3:15. I arrived with all the decorations and set up at 2:20. I brought my dress along with me and got changed at the venue after setting up, after getting my hair and makeup was done earlier. And I was sweaty from setting up chairs plus decorations. The guests all arrived on time, including her relatives who, as previously mentioned, do not speak English, who I barely speak any of the same languages with. They kept trying to take photos of me even though I kept telling them clearly no's. And they would physically pull me aside and physically force me to take photos, which then made my family think they could take photos, despite firmly saying no to them. My wife ended up arriving at 4:30, an hour after the ceremony was meant to start, and at the end of the time that we had booked for the venue. The venue was nice enough to let us continue past the time we booked. Waiting for my wife to arrive was excruciating. I kept phoning asking where she was and she'd say 10 minutes away for an hour and a half. She was so late because she was still trying to build the arbor despite having no way of transporting it, and because she had not written her vows yet. The only person who kept me sane throughout the waiting was our celebrant. My family kept watching me, waiting for me to react, and I felt extremely observed, so I hung out with the celebrant since she was the only actually distracting me from the situation instead of asking me questions I couldn't answer. The questions being, where is wife? What time will wife get here? It was horrible. I legit wanted to die a little bit. Luckily, my wife did arrive, and her vows were beautiful. The celebrant made multiple jokes at my wife's expense about her hour's tardiness, but they were actually pretty helpful because no one else gave her additional crap for it later on. So basically, the entire ceremony was a mess. The saving grace to the entire wedding was that the reception was absolutely bomb. Minus the lack of song and microphone for speeches, it was honestly perfect and went so much better than I could have possibly expected it to. And was so incredibly fun and amazing, and because it ended on such a good note, the guests all ended up being very happy. The two good things to come out of my wife's extreme tardiness: she is never allowed to be mad at me again for being late to something, ever, for the rest of our lives. And everyone's opinions of me skyrocketed because I did not lose my crap and stayed patient, externally. Almost every guest told me I had the patience of an angel and couldn't believe that I could handle the situation. Again, externally. Now that it's all over and I'm on my honeymoon, I'm kinda trapped between two mindsets of being pretty pissed at how things happened and how we missed out on doing so many of the things we wanted because my wife did not organize a single thing she said she would organize, and the mindset of what's done is done and there's no point worrying about it because it's happened and over and there's nothing that can be changed, so what's the point of stressing out about it and being angry? It has definitely awoken me to the extent of my wife's procrastination though, and I'm going to consistently lie to her in the future about the times things start or dates important things happen so that we are and she is not late to important things in the future, which I have already begun doing by lying about our honeymoon flights. Lol. Wish me luck, y'all. Now let's move on to the update. I did not expect this to blow up the way it did. At the time, I just needed to rant about how disappointed I was, but the response gave me a lot to think about. We had a big sit-down talk and I asked her why she truly procrastinated and what was going through her mind. She basically said this: she wanted everything to be perfect to the extent that she couldn't do it. She was so stressed that everything had to be 100% perfect and was so scared that it wouldn't meet her expectations. She was too scared to start. And once she got into the habit of feeling that way and the amount of anxiety regarding the wedding, she couldn't break out of it until a month in when it became dire and it didn't matter if it was perfect anymore, it just needed to be done. She is very disappointed in herself for falling into this pattern with the wedding. She said it happened a lot during university with her assignments and she always wrote them the day of and they always ended up fine. She never really had any consequences. She truly didn't think about how stressed I would be and how embarrassing it would be for me if she was so late. And she forgot that the venue booking was until 4:30. She feels this is the first time she's had any real consequences for procrastinating, being my misery. I believe her when she said how sorry she was and how terrible she felt. She said she felt a lot of shame for making me take the brunt of the work and basically standing me up for an hour because she got herself in such a stressed state because she was obsessed with it being perfect. She felt that when she felt stress, up until last month, she felt like she was in a bad mood when she planned it. She'd be in a bad mood on the day and not enjoy the wedding. We talked about whether that was logical or not, and she agreed it wasn't, but that she just couldn't do it when she felt bad. Which was all the time since she was stressing out about it being perfect. It unfortunately ended with her not really contributing a single thing to the wedding planning and organizing because she felt unable to break out of that mindset. As for the day off, she felt she underestimated how long it would take to do things and honestly lost track of time. She did indeed want to marry me, and her wedding avoidance wasn't due to that. I had that thought during the planning or lack of planning, and she assured me she wanted to get married. She was also the one who said she wanted to get married, and legally we got married before the wedding without any difficulty. She also did want the wedding, and how it was planned ticked most of the buckets for things she wanted. I did not force her into a marriage or wedding. She did want, like 50% of the comments were suggesting. She admitted that there were a few things she would have done a bit differently, but recognized that with the approaching deadline, stuff just needed doing and I couldn't keep waiting for her. I will bring up the ADHD later because it was a bit much to bring up all in one conversation, but I will bring it up, and I'll keep an eye out for anything else that possibly matches. We are both autistic, but have very different strengths and weaknesses. I assumed that our differences were different presentations of autism and didn't even consider that she might have additional neurodiversity. I appreciate how many people were angry on my behalf. I had crossed into apathy a bit to cope, I think. Thanks to everyone who responded. I really do appreciate everyone's opinions and concerns. Well, OP, good for you for having that conversation. It's a lot better than going through marriage knowing that you need to lie to your spouse to get things done. I think this is a great first step. So congratulations on the wedding and take care the both of you. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.